Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another pre-market watch list here today. Happy to have you guys tuning in. Hopefully you guys had a great Memorial Day weekend. I know that I did. I enjoyed myself quite a bit, maybe a little too much, but that's okay. So had a really good weekend, Memorial Day weekend. Glad to be back here in the office and trading. So real quick, if you're not familiar here, the market had a big gap down over the weekend. So the market itself is down a couple points. If you look at the SPY or the S&P 500, you'll see it had a really big gap down, and it's kind of moving up right now. It's coming up to some areas of resistance, and I'll show you on the screen here in just a bit. So I think with the way the market's heading, a gap down, I think we're going to retest some key levels before coming back down a little bit here today. But I would expect we might have a little bit of a red day on our hands with the market. No guarantee, but I do think we might see a little bit of a red day. All right, so let me get into sharing the screen here for you guys, and then go from there. All right, 1 second. Share the screen, this one. Boom, boom. All right. All right, so you guys should be able to see the screen for where you're at now. So we'll get ahead and start talking about this. So right now, the market did gap down, or not necessarily right now, but you can see here that the market has gapped down overnight. So what this is going to do, it's probably going to affect some of those tech stocks. And some of those tech stocks will probably push a little bit lower if the market moves lower. So if you were to go back and search up all the tech stocks from this morning, like Facebook, Apple, Nvidia, and things like that, in those particular stocks, you'll see that a lot of them gapped down this morning. And that's particularly because the market had gapped down. Now the market's moving back up. You could expect to see some of those stocks move back up. So what I want you to notice here on the SPY is you can see here, it had a high at 274, then it got a higher low, and then eventually right here is when it dumped, right? But you can also see that it bounced right here and it bounced right there. So 1, 2 bounce. Now coming to it, this mark, this white line, it's probably going to hold up as a resistance area. So I would imagine that when the price of the market comes up and retests this 271 area, this white line, it's probably going to fail. And that's when you're going to see the market kind of head back down or head a little bit lower today, right? So this is it, right? I think we're going to see a rejection off of this bounce spot will then become resistance. So they get bounced here, and now right here, that's where it's going to start going lower, and rejecting is off that level right in there. So what's that mean? It means that don't necessarily be long bias on the market because it's going up right now. There's still some key levels that the market has to break through before it could really push higher, okay? So good morning to you guys. So let's talk about some of the main stocks here, the main focus stocks. So TRXC, everybody's talking about this already, so we might as well talk about it too and point you in the right direction. And what direction may that be? The direction may be, or probably will be, down. Okay, you see this? The direction this might in fact be down. How do I know that? Well, it just looks like it. It just looks pretty weak. There's no guarantees, but we have a high here, pull back, bounce, high number 2, and now we're rolling over again, bounce, and bounce again. We're starting to run out of steam. So theoretically, if it continues trading in this pattern, it will do this. And it's either going to break this way or it's going to break that pattern and go down. Considering it's up so much already, I would say that the likelihood of it going up is far less than it going down. If you look at TRXC on a yearly chart, or that's a 3-week, but if you look at it on a yearly chart, look at it. This is where the price action is. Right? The price action for TRXC is like right here, right at $4. Right? And if you go straight across, that puts you right there. And all this right here is all resistance. So the likelihood of it going higher is probably a little bit less. And even if it were to go higher, right? Even if it were to go up a bit higher, you're going to have resistance at 5. You'll have resistance at $4.50. And, maybe a little bit throughout here in this area, right above 4. Okay, so you got quite a bit of resistance on TRXC. The likelihood of it continuing higher, I think, is far less. And as you can see, it's already starting to drop. So again, be short bias on TRXC. If you're thinking about playing this, you're probably going to want to be short bias, all right? But again, it is a big mover. It had an FDA approval this morning. It did get FDA approval. So a lot of people are watching it. So do keep TRXC on your watch. All right, on to the next one. MOMO. Oh, MOMO. So MOMO. This one is an earnings play. It's up from $39 all the way to $44. Then it pulled back to $43. So this thing's up quite a bit. It has a little bit of range. All right, so simply this is a big gap up that we're going to see if it wants to continue to the upside or if it wants to actually roll over and drop. So we can be both short and long bias on this because we pulled higher, we've come down. So now we're just kind of in an area of, who knows what's going to happen. So what I would do if you're considering trading MOMO is I would mark off this level here. So follow my screen and just follow along. I would mark off that level right there. I'd mark off this level right here. These would be two main levels that I would mark off if you're long bias, because if you're long bias and you want this to go higher, you're going to at least need to break through these two key points for it to keep pushing higher. So those would be the two levels. So the level at 44 and 44, 44. Those are going to be some levels to map off. If I were to get short, some key levels that I'd want to mark off would probably be one here at 42.86 and another one here at 42. Okay, another two key levels, as you can see. So depending on how you trade it, if you're long bias or short bias, right, a few scenarios that could take place on MOMO is it could squeeze up and hit this line, reject and come down. It could squeeze up, hit this pre-market high, reject and come down. Or it could just flip short immediately and it could bounce off this level. Or it could really get hammered down and it could bounce off that level. All right, so there's a couple different scenarios that we could be watching for. You can look for a high a day short where it comes up and then it hits one of these lines and you get short, or pre-market high, get short. You could look for a bounce play off this level, or these are going to be your targets when you are short. So there's a lot that can go on. All right. But at the end of the day, MOMO did have good earnings, so this one's already getting pretty heavily traded, so we're going to watch it. If you look at a yearly chart, it is at it was close to its 52-week high. When it was up towards 44, it was almost at its 52-week high. So right now, MOMO is right into a lot of resistance. So definitely be watching carefully if you're long bias, because MOMO, MOMO, is right at 52-week high resistance. All right, another one we're watching is ZTO. So if you zoom in here, look at this daily chart. This is a 1-minute chart. This is ZTO from 19 to 23. Now, if you look at the news on ZTO, it will say that that Alibaba and another company are investing $1.3 billion into ZTO. So ZTO is a China-based company, express company, and Alibaba and another company are investing $1.3 billion into this company. And that's exactly why you could see this big move to the upside here on ZTO this morning. All right, so this has to do a lot with a news catalyst. So we're going to be watching ZTO. I'm not necessarily short bias. I'm actually more long bias. Even though the chart points short, I am long bias, right? So you can see here we have kind of double topped. One top, come down, two top, down. So even though it looks short, I'm going to watch it for a long today. I think with that news being so strong, having Alibaba in the news, this could actually result in it becoming a good trade today. Okay. So that's one. All right. Now, the next stock, next one I will definitely be watching is MU. So I'm not a huge fan of the way MU looks, but I'm going to be watching it. I think with the market, right? If you look at the market, what's this doing? So the market's kind of trickling back up. I think we're going to have a red day on the market. If we have a red day on the market, I think we're going to see the stock MU start pulling back as well. If you look at MU from like a daily chart, it is clearly overextended. It's clearly at 52-week high resistance. We've had one tap, two tap. So we've already had a double top here at the 62 level. Double tap on 62. Right? So I think that it's, even though it looks bullish, I personally think we're going to start seeing MU come down. So you can see here, if you look at it from like this chart, you can see this was the move up. One tap, pull back, two tap, pull back, pull up, three tap, pull back. So I think this area right now is the top on MU, and I think we're starting to roll over and start to head down. So I'm going to be short bias on MU for these coming days. All right. So again, I'm going to be watching a lot of the tech stocks today: MU, Facebook, Amazon, Tesla. Tesla, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to watch Tesla. NVIDIA is another good one. BABA. Right? Boeing. Going to be watching all these different stocks today because of the way the market gapped down. If the market sees some volatility today, then we should have some good outcomes or good plays on some of these other stocks. So are there any particular stocks that you guys would like me to take a look at? Is there anything that's on your watch list that I haven't mentioned that you think might be good? Again, I only have a few of my watch lists coming off after a long weekend. I'm not going to clutter myself. I'm just going to try and take it easy, get myself some wins today and not push it too hard. So again, is there anything you guys are looking at you want me to take a look at for reassurance, anything like that at all? Okay, so let's take a look at BIOS. So we'll take a look here, BIOS. Okay, so if you look at BIOS, you can see here with the way that it trades, this isn't enough volume, or it trades heavy volume, but the float is so big that the chart ends up looking like this. Okay, so this right here is what we would not want to day trade. It has swing trade, opportunity, I'm sure, but not day trading. Again, where's the price? 240. Wow. That's a really big spread right now. Anywho. So BIOS, you can't really day trade it. It's more of a swing trading stock. And right now it's hard to tell because the spread is 50 cents. But this would be like a kind of a key moment right in here. Like right there is a key moment for the stock. So I would wait and watch what BIOS does as it trades in this pattern with this downtrend line and this uptrend line and see if it kind of breaks out in this 250 area, right where I drew that yellow line or arrow. It's also hard to tell because of the 50-cent spread. All right, 1 second here. HEAR. So HEAR is just kind of hanging out, right? I would not be long bias on the stock anymore. At least I don't think you would be. Here's the deal: is a lot of people are trying to short this stock. There's a lot of people that have been trying to short the stock and get it to go down, and they keep getting squeezed up. Personally, I would be short bias on it. All right. And the reason I would be short bias on it is because we had this huge move up. The stock is ridiculously overextended by probably 20 points. Well, no, it's 17. So by about $12 a share, it's overpriced. So we have the top, we drop, we went back up, we failed. So this is probably what we call the lower high. We're probably going to start the backside this week. So I'd be short bias on HEAR because of the high here followed by a lower high. So this was the attempt right here, what I just circled, that was the attempt to go higher and it failed. So we probably have a lower high taking place, and it's probably going to roll over and go down. All right. Next one is, let's see, BLTEUM. So TEUM, chances are this trade's too light a volume. Yeah, so if you look here, you'll see that the stock chart looks really spacey. That's not a good stock to day trade. But if you were to swing trade it, that might have some areas of opportunity. But again, swing trading it, probably not going to be that much fun. Just look at this. This is a 5-day chart. And look how much the stock moves. All right, it barely moves. So it went from 247 to a low of 236, so about 10 cents in a day. And then from 234 to a high of 243, so less than 10 cents. So on average right now, this thing is moving less than 10 cents a day, which isn't very fun, which really isn't a great stock to be trading. All right, it doesn't have a lot of range, so I wouldn't really focus attention towards TEUM, not at this particular moment in time. BLNK. BLNK, it's another stock that everybody tried shorting for a long time. It's up pretty big. It's still, it's actually on support right now. Let's see. Again, BLNK, it's just trading sideways. So I really wouldn't be very concerned with trading this. This is also a very manipulated stock. It still is. There's a lot of manipulation going on here on this stock. So for me, I'm not trading BLNK anymore. But just based on the way it looks, you can see how the charts are starting to get a little bit more spacey. So this isn't necessarily something you want to day trade, but you could look at swing trading it. And right now, the stock is on support. If you look at the daily chart, you'll see that the 9 moving average is right here following price action. So theoretically, we are on support. So you could look to maybe even get long on it. But for me, I'm not going to trade it. There's better trades out there. Cara Therapeutics. All right. So Cara Therapeutics is a tough one. It's hard to say what's going to happen. I would be watching Cara Therapeutics initially long for right now, because if it breaks over this kind of trend line, we might see a little bit of a pop this morning. What I can say for sure is after Cara had that big day, this big day where it squeezed up like crazy, right? Everybody piled in short the next day. And then everybody covered, and that's what caused this next day to squeeze up like crazy. So what I can say is the stock Cara Therapeutics is definitely a little overextended, maybe even a little overpriced for the movement right now. So again, I'm short bias on Cara Therapeutics. I would be short bias on Cara Therapeutics. ALK, gap up from 58 to 62. What's the yearly chart look like? 100, 100, 100. I would say to start thinking short on ALK, based on previous price history, it shows that whenever it gets close to the 100 moving average on its daily chart, it tends to sell off. So right now the price is 63, about 61, 62. It has up until 64. So it has $2 a share to the long side before it's going to see resistance and start coming down. So you might be able to look for a long trade up to the $64 mark and then start thinking short bias. OLED. Oh. OLED on the yearly chart has a nice little curling pattern here you can see, which is going to lead to a breakout here over the 50 moving average, 104 all the way up to 113, which is right here. Just based on the way the chart looks right now, it's hard to say what's going to happen. But I would keep it on watch. I mean, it's got a huge gap up, so watch it short and long today because it's up so big. It's got a nice big gap up, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's hard to tell what's going to happen. There's not much price action to go off of here. Wow. Oh, AKER. Let's take a look. I want to see what that's doing now. Oh, wow. Down to 34 cents. Could have seen that coming from a mile away, but no. Nobody wanted to listen to me again. Yep. Oh, also HMNY. HMNY is down to 40 cents. When it was $38, I said it would go down to $2. Didn't listen to me then either. That's okay. No big deal. So UVXY, sure, why not? UVXY. So the reason UVXY gapped up today is because the market gapped down. Since the market gapped down, UVXY gapped up. Right now, the volatility index is at 15, 16. So the volatility index is still really low. So you will not find me trading UVXY, TVIX, or any inverse related ETF in the stock market because the volatility is still just too low to trade those tickers. So if you're thinking about trading UVXY, TVIX, QQQ, or any inverse related, velocity fund of the stock market, do so when the volatility index is high, which means it's got to be over 20. All right. So TTTOO. No. So anywho, I'm going to let you guys go. Those are the main stocks that I am watching for today. Let's see. So those are the main stocks I am watching for today. My main stocks are, MOMO, ZTO, and some of the bigger name stocks. I mean, even some of these smaller name stocks may not end up playing out. And if that's the case, then I'm just going to end up, trading, Baba, Facebook, Tesla, things like that. So I know there's a lot of stocks that we did not have the time to get to. And some of these stocks may look pretty good. And and I'm just giving my personal opinion. Also, keep an eye on Foot Locker. Foot Locker is another one to watch today. But again, that's just my personal opinion on a lot of these stocks, and from experience, that's kind of what I'm following. I'm gonna watch MOMO, ZTO, maybe a few others, but if those don't work out, then I'll just resort back to Facebook, Apple, Baba, the norm, right? I always watch those, and I always have oddball stocks that have either some catalyst or good news report for that day. But anywho, I will see you guys all tomorrow morning for another pre-market watch list. And hopefully you guys like what you've seen. You can always join into our Facebook group, our chat room, and our premium trading group. All the links are provided below in the description video. So again, check out the description before you head out, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow morning.